Coming up on this episode of the Running Restaurants podcast, we have returning guest Jordan Boesch of 7Shifts talking about the key findings from their 2026 report called What Employees Want. And you absolutely have to check out this episode and you have to get that report. It's a terrific interactive look at a large variety of key factors that employees care about. Really well done. My talk with Jordan also dug into AI and what he's doing and seeing in that realm, as well as lessons learned from the World Cup experience. So stay tuned. All right, folks, welcome to the runningrestaurants.com podcast, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and more successful. I'm your host, Jamie Oikle. Today, we got a great episode because I've got a returning guest, Jordan Boesch, who is the CEO of 7Shifts with me. Jordan, always a lot of stuff to talk about, but today we're going to kind of focus around your 2026 special report that's all about what employees want. And man, I looked at it and we'll talk about it. So I won't give away too much, but lots of great stuff coming up there. We will talk about those findings, but give folks the background if they haven't met you yet, what you guys do and what you're up to. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jamie. Quick background on 7Shifts. First of all, I started it because my dad ran quick service restaurants and my grandparents ran quick service restaurants in the space. So come from a family of operators, and 7Shifts is really built to try and initially solve a scheduling and labor management pain point. But we've always had a long-term view of building across the entire HR life cycle. So a one-stop shop for operators where they can hire, train, schedule, pay, and retain their staff. And that's really where we've spent a lot of our time. So we're inching every day closer to completing the all-in-one HR platform for restaurant operators.
Nice. And you guys have been doing it for quite a while now. And one of the things I love about what you guys do, and we'll talk about the report, is you give back with education, reports, blogs, all that sort of stuff. Where does that come from?
It really comes from, I think, a place of, if we're going to try and give people tools to run their operations better, it's important that we need to first understand what it means to run a really great operation. Mm-hmm. And spending time with best-in-class operators that are on the cutting edge of ways of thinking, but having some really great unlocks, whether it's, Danny Meyer's USHG group and how they think about culture and how they hire and screen, and sort of taking some of these really great philosophies and frankly, some of them align with our company at 7Shifts of how we run internally, and trying to build them into the product so that when we learn something valuable, it's not just for that one customer, it's for the entire industry. I really see that this is an opportunity to raise the water for all of these operators and share these best practices and kind of spread them across the board. So I really do think there's an opportunity for companies like ours to make the industry better. And that's what's exciting for me.
And you can really see it in the way you guys presented this report. It may be available as a download or something too, but the way I got it, and I want to give folks the URL so we don't forget, and we'll have it in the notes, but it's 7shifts.com/what-restaurant-employees-1. And if you go there, it's really this interactive data set as you scroll. It's loading up charts and feedback and tips and giving insights and quotes from operators. It's really, really well done. So it's one of those things that it's a no-brainer, go check it out. And I hope I got that. Did I get the directions right? Is there an easier way to get there?
No, you got that right. And I think even just if people Google or go on ChatGPT, just type 7Shifts, what restaurant employees want in 2026. Yeah. You'll find our survey. It's a number one result.
Yep. That's how I got it. It's I need to find the link to it. And that's what I did. I typed it in and boom, it comes right up. So it is easy to find. I have some notes on, what you guys found, but how do you summarize some of the big stuff, some of the big findings?
Yeah, I think there were sort of 5 things that came out of the report, if I could summarize. And again, there's more details directly within it. But I think the number one thing that we found is, understaffing is still, a number one stressor for restaurant employees. And the second one is great coworkers are almost valued above the cash part of the job. 84% of happy employees feel connected to their team. So a really big emphasis on how do you build that winning team, that team that jives well together, that sees the same almost like core values and behaviors that you want. The third one was more centered around benefits, which was the fact that there's a number of benefits that restaurants typically offered, but not all benefits that are offered are things that employees want or care about.
Yeah.
And I'll use an example like discounted or free meals. Well, 72% of restaurants offer that, but only 24% of people actually care or want that. Whereas if you were to take a look at paid time off or things like that, that's only offered to 37%, but 43% of employees want that. So I think that there's a bit of a discrepancy in terms of the benefits that are being offered within restaurants. The fourth is manager recognition, and this is one where I think that it's a small thing to do, but if you can build some sort of framework around having employees complete something or unlock certain things that are important for your operations, and being able to praise them and congratulate them and build some sort of incentive around that. And some people have gift cards and some people have, different things that they use to do that. I think recognition is another one. And then the retention side of thing, I think that has not really changed a whole lot in the surveys that we've done, even in prior years, which is that employees quit their managers more often than they quit their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So the importance of having strong management, and I think this funnels back into the comment around a strong team, is a really understated aspect of running a great restaurant.
I posted something yesterday, just unrelated to today's conversation, but it was a really recent snippet from a webinar, and where we talked about the praise aspect of things. And it was like, hey, you don't do it enough. Nobody does it enough. And when I wrote the little description on LinkedIn and Facebook, wherever, it was like, you'll never regret praising someone. Like, you'll never regret it. Like, you'll regret saying that stupid thing and that mean, cruel thing, but you'll probably never regret praising somebody. Like just do it. Just do it more often. Don't be shy. Like, you can't.
Doesn't cost anything.
Doesn't cost anything, right?
And a lot of the times it's just like that public recognition too. I think is really critical. And some folks have implemented things where they praise folks based on core values that they're demonstrating that are sort of translate to behaviors. We do that at 7 Shifts. So we have folks that nominate other folks in the company based on our values and behaviors when they see someone demonstrating it. And then I go up every month at all hands.
Yeah.
And actually our VP of people does this now, but she'll read off the story that resonates most with what we want that value to mean. So it reinforces that that's the positive behavior that we want to see in people. And so I think, look, there's no one's getting gift cards in this case. No one's getting a trophy. Like, there's no physical thing being given when we do this, but there is a sense of public acknowledgement that is very meaningful to people. And if you can align that with the behaviors you want in your business, then it doesn't cost a whole lot to do that.
Yeah. The feeling, I think I even used the word blush when in the video segment. It's like, when you do get praised in public, yeah, you blush, like you feel great inside. And it's a feeling that can't be replaced. And again, it can't be done enough. And doing it all hands is important. Let's say you're doing a restaurant and you're busy and there's just 5 people and you're doing a pre-shift, but yeah, call out Stan, who did something great yesterday and got a comment. Like, just make sure you do stuff like that. So I absolutely love that. And if you do decide to give rewards, they don't have to be big. It can be a small gift card, a movie ticket, $20. It doesn't have to be a gigantic process. So please do that if you're not doing it. Something I want to, there's a lot more in it. So you hit top 5. If you were to grab some other insights, some other thoughts, some snippets, what else would you call out?
Yeah, I would say, I think even just looking at, if you unpack the top stressors for employees, I mentioned that being understaffed is the top one. It's followed by difficult customers, then rushing during busy periods, poor communication, last minute schedule changes. And I think that one around last minute schedule changes is really interesting because it hits on what I think a lot of the statewide compliance is trying to solve, which is, you have to give a certain period of time before the schedule is out in certain states. And if you change someone's shift, 24 hours before they're scheduled for it, you have to pay a penalty. And I mean, I just think it's so sad that we have to have regulations that do that. I would just hope that people are, a little bit more respectful and can plan better for the lives of these workers, given all the tools that we have nowadays at our disposal to predict and understand and sales and volumes and guests. So that to me is one that obviously we build into 7 shifts around and surface these compliance things when managers do make last minute schedule changes, if you're in the state of New York, and telling them. But that's definitely a bit of a disheartening one to see that that's still going on. When, I know this is a young workforce and they're, supposed to be at I think the expectation is you're at the sort of the beck and the call of your manager, but I don't know, people have other stuff going on in their lives too. I don't think it's a lot to ask to, try and plan a little bit better so that you can predict your operations better. So it's not as chaotic for the workers. And then under the top daily motivators for in our report, I mentioned the coworkers and team were a big one, but the close runner up to that was positive customer feedback.
Okay.
So we're talking here about the managers giving feedback and how important that is. And I think that obviously that's something that we can do at our disposal, but I think hearing that compliment from a customer it takes it to another level, right? Because they don't have any duty to compliment you. And so I think I can understand why that feels very good and motivating for staff. And I think that's a good reminder for us patrons who go to restaurants and visit them. And if you see someone doing a great job, obviously tips are a great way to say thank you. But I think people are also forgetting the verbal aspect and, words of affirmation in terms of how that can make people feel. So that was an interesting one that came out of it as well.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about it earlier, how you can't give enough praise, and like the smile at a coffee shop, it's free. Like you can smile and you can be polite and you can say thank you. And if someone does give you a really good job, like on the way out, say something nice, like, you were great today. That was really fun. Like you did great. And they'll go, oh yeah, that was good. So that stuff is easy to do as a customer. And I try to do that because I do appreciate that. You talked about the scheduling thing. That's a big deal. I think it's been solved a lot better, obviously more recently than in the way past. I used to work retail back in the day, and I swear you'd get your schedule on Thursday for the next Sunday. It was terrible, and everyone's always like, when's the schedule coming out? When's the schedule coming out? And I think that does still exist. I think phones and technology has made things better. And I know you guys solve that really well. So if you are a restaurant and you are not putting your schedule out on a timely basis, please know from the report and from life, I'm sure your staff would appreciate bigger lead times there. I do want to talk about benefits. I want to go back to that. I think we hinted at it the last time we spoke in one of our sessions. And I think you guys have some more insights how restaurants are getting better at giving benefits. It's a really big deal. Everything, it's not typical to have health benefits necessarily in a lot of restaurants, but what else are you seeing restaurants do on the benefit side that's a positive?
Yeah, I think just that is just getting more creative on what they're offering. I think I was reading in our report when we did it, Tzatziki's Cafe, there are 100 locations and they've got incredible retention. And when they looked at, and we spoke to them about how they think about benefits, they thought about it in almost bucketing the sort of bucketing into categories for their staff. So they had the younger Gen Z folks, they had the working parents, and they had the Spanish speaking workers. And what they found is there's certain benefits that make most sense to certain groups versus others.
Sure.
And so instead of sort of employing a one size fits all, they match the benefits to these groups. So for the younger Gen Z workers, they had instant pay as a benefit, which they cared about. And for the working parents, they valued more flexible scheduling and just having that ability to be more fluid in their work.
Yep.
For Spanish speaking workers, they had English tutoring for those folks. And so you look at that and you sort of feel you care deeply personally about something for you and where you're at in your stage of life, and to have your employer match that, it's obvious to me why their retention is so high. Where are you going to go that's going to offer something like that? And these aren't health benefits necessarily, right? Everyone's talking about health benefits, and it's not to say that it's bad. It's just, when's the last time as an operator you actually asked your workers what they care about? And I think it's as simple as that in a lot of ways. Start there. If you haven't, just ask them, put a box out, ask them to write on a sticky note, or like send a Google form survey. They're free. Send it through 7 Shifts, like copy the link, send it through the messaging app, and then have them fill in what they care most about. Because I think once you understand that, then you can start to get creative like Tzatziki's did. But until then, you're sort of grasping at the wind. Like you're unclear about what might motivate them. And so I think it's important to just start with asking.
Yeah, I think we all get stuck in the I know what's best, or I don't need other input box, and just ask. Yeah, just ask. We did another recent post that just reminds me of that. Is we were talking about a suggestion box. It was called what makes my day difficult box, and it's the same idea of getting feedback from your staff, like these things annoyed me today, and you write a little anonymous tip, stick it in the box. Boss can read and go, oh shoot, I didn't know that was a problem, right? And you can fix it. So those things you can definitely do, like definitely implement. And something I want to talk about, it seems to come up in every conversation, AI. So, and I saw a post, I feel from you months ago, it might've been sooner. You talked about AI in depth, what you were doing with it, what the company was doing with it. I didn't, I don't remember the details. So bring me up to speed on how you guys are thinking about it and what you're doing.
Well, I think there's like a few different categories of AI in the company for companies like ours, and many companies, frankly. There's AI in operations, like how are you making your company run more efficiently, get done work faster, ship more things that are valuable to customers, all of that. Then there's how does AI impact the customer in the product? And so we look at both of those, and we're obviously trying to make a lot of changes and progress there. I think as it relates to the restaurant operator, I think it's still, whether you use AI or not, you're still trying to uncover what they would find is the most valuable thing to get out of a product like ours. And so I think using AI for the sake of AI is not going to get any company anywhere, but it's really important that we still stay laser focused on customer problems. And yes, AI can help solve those customer problems potentially much faster. And part of it is you're going to be able to experiment a little bit more with AI and product to find out, okay, like where are these problems? And some of the time there are problems that are obvious, and there are problems that are less obvious. And so I think that's where we can get really, we can have a lot of fun with experimentation in the product and do some testing and roll some stuff out. And if it sticks, great. If not, pull it back, don't continue with it. And so I think that's the exciting part. What I do worry about from just more software more broadly is, and I think this is where really great product managers come in, is ensuring you're not just constantly, just because you can ship fast doesn't mean you should just ship a bunch of slop. Yeah. And you're now, instead of doing 10 impactful things, you're doing 100 non-impactful things. Well, that's going to create a ton of bloat, and it's going to be frustrating. And so I think we are very mindful of the speed that we want to move at. But I think what we as and all companies need to figure out is, how do you ensure that in your library of things to do for the customer, that the next thing you're taking off the shelf is a very highly impactful thing. And the onus is on product managers to really, really have higher confidence potentially on what those higher impact things could be. So that's
Yeah.
kind of how we're thinking about it.
Yeah, thanks for kind of running through that, because I'm a novice. I'm using some of the tools and learning some of the things, and trying to get better. And I think people are all along the spectrum, and I'm sure you're further along than myself. But one of the things you find out really quickly is it will spit stuff at you. That's pretty good. Let me put that out. And so I can see coders doing that really quickly. That looks good. Let me put that out. And it may not serve the best interest. But I'm curious, on a personal side, what are you doing? What are you using it for personally in your life? For you as an executive, how do you feel the most impact?
So I feel like I get the most impact of, I think there's sort of just different levels and stages. So I think there's like the getting help on writing something and tweaking something aspect. I think the real big unlock for me and my work is around even email triaging. Like I have an AI agent that sort of goes and triages my emails, looks through them, summarizes them, archives the ones that don't need to be actioned, and then gives me sort of like a, midday, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's the things you actually need to do. So I think just finding, I use this example because I feel like it's a very real one for folks that are running businesses, is you had a lot of stuff, and I think it's important to take a step back and look at where you're spending the bulk of your day. Well, if the bulk of my day, is spending a couple hours a day in my email, I'd rather not do that. I'd rather, and archiving things that I don't need to action. And so I think that that's been a really big unlock for me. And then there's other workflows within the company that, we've been able to unlock that are exciting around even just development, and something that I've even been able to do, which is submit things to be worked on and have our agent help work on that feature or bug that a customer is experiencing. So, and like, yes, I'm a programmer, I'm technical, but I haven't been in a while. So being able to articulate where the bug is that a customer is experiencing and have that go out to production in a fix in short order is really game changing. And it's an exciting way to have more people potentially involved, assuming the guardrails are right for who's actually doing this, in a way that we could actually help and make more impact for our customers and create a really good and stable and consistent product.
Let's come into the real world. Forget about these tech guys and this AI stuff. Let's get into soccer. Like, this is going to come out after the World Cup is finished, but we talked briefly. You guys are near a World Cup city. You said you went to a game. Any lessons you can give to restaurant folks and hospitality folks as you experience big events, you see big crowds, you get passion? Anything you kind of picked out from this whole process?
I think for me, it wasn't even about the crowds or necessarily the event. It was watching, because Team Canada was at the same hotel that we were staying at.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit earlier about teams, and just watching these players interact with each other and the coaches interact with the players. It was so obvious they were a really tight team. Nice. They were laughing together. They were, and Danny Meyer often says, like, if you look at the staff. If the staff are genuinely having fun at work, you're probably going to have a great experience as a customer. If the staff are not having fun, it's going to come down through, and it's going to impact your experience as a diner. And so I think about that as I was watching the players interact with each other. And there's all sorts of things that they do to kind of gel as a team. They do, some team building exercises. They go off site. They do a bunch of stuff before all these games. And I think that's a really important aspect for not just team cohesion, but like, you want to show up and you want to be around great people. And if you feel like you've recruited the best people, give them a chance to really get to know each other. And that's going to have massive return on retention for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. The soccer has been phenomenal, and I think it's been a great experience for everybody. We'll see who comes out to be the champion. So one thing we've done in the past is you always seem to have good book recommendations. Is there anything on your night table, or maybe you're a digital guy reading anything now you'd recommend to folks that's hitting you?
I'm trying to think like what I've been reading through. The last book that I had looked at and read, it's like I read a lot of AI stuff lately, less on the paperbacks. But I would still say I would say the Steve Jobs sort of biography book has been a really good one,
Mhm.
that I've kind of went through, and there's some really great stuff within there. Um, I would also say that I think all the standard business books. I don't think there's anything crazy different between some of them, but um, there's a lot of good ones around, like the 0 to 1 books. I mean, some of the names are escaping me, but I would say the Steve Jobs book is probably my most recent book.
Yeah, I will echo. I haven't read that one in a while, and I think it's one of the very few books I've did on audio, but it's fantastic. His whole story is fantastic, and so anything I can consume about him, I try to do it. All right, hit him with the report again, where you guys are online, any socials, anything else, parting thoughts, anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, check out the what employees want in 2026 survey. Just Google it, and you can download your copy just by entering your email. Yeah, if folks aren't on 7 shifts, create a free trial account. And if you have questions, I always throw it out there. Like, you can email me, Jordan at 7shifts.com. I read every email. But yeah, check us out, and especially with our new training product that we're rolling out here. So if that's something you're into, beyond general labor management, we see ourselves really solving problems across the whole HR stack: hire, train, schedule, pay, and retain. Sign up for a free trial at 7shifts.com.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Again, folks, you got to get this report. So definitely check it out. I went through it before, but then I went through it again yesterday, and I said, holy cow, there's so much stuff in here. So folks, Jordan Boesch of 7 Shifts, you can find them at 7shifts.com for more great stuff regarding restaurant marketing, people, tech, service, and more. Tune into runningrestaurants.com. In the meantime, do a quick favor, take 1 second and hit a like button where you're listening, or a subscribe button. Take a second and review us or rate us wherever you're watching or listening. That would be a big favor, and we'd appreciate it. We'll see you folks next time. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks, Jamie.